everyone, and it's time for Viewpoint here on 102.7 1300 AM. My name is Romou. I'm here with you for the full hour with my guest, who happens to be MP Angelique Romou, who is responsible for St.Maarten promoting Young Ambassadors Foundation, and she's here to talk about the upcoming interscholastic idol competition, which is being held just about every year, with the exception of when life itself was interrupted by COVID and nothing really was happening. It's good to have her always to share with the general public what she's doing, aside from not being in Parliament at the moment, so she's a former MP. But good afternoon to you, MP. And you know the saying, always an MP. No, once an MP, always an MP. In any case, good afternoon to you. How are you doing?
Good afternoon to you, Wendell, and of course, good afternoon to the viewing and the listening audience.
Say it again?
I said good afternoon to you, Wendell, and of course, good afternoon to those viewing on Facebook and those listening on the radio. It's
and
always
the live
a pleasure
stream
to
is
be
up
here.
as well. So
yes, and the live stream as well.
Yeah. Well, good to have you. Obviously, with all the activities that were happening in the past, maybe I don't know how many people took note of what you're doing, or unless
believe you me, it has had an impact, you know. It has had an impact.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, you know, we're going through with it. With some minor changes. We had to. But of course, we're going to discuss all of that today on the radio pertaining to the Interscholastic Idols competition. Yeah, and the details as to what would be taking place, because there's so much more. Okay, fine. And this is going to happen when? Let's get that in for sure. The show is scheduled to happen literally in a couple of days, because it's going to be on the 17th of May.
That's right around the corner.
2 Sundays, so 2 Sundays from now, we're going to have a solo competition. And the choirs competition. Usually the show is split between 2 days, so it should have been the 16th the solo competitions, and then on the 17th only the choir. But I think I wouldn't say interruption, because Carnival is never an interruption. I mean, it's a part of our culture, something that I love as well. So but I think that definitely had a role to play in us not getting as much
practice time in.
Participants, and of course, because the teachers are volunteering their time to assist, you know, so everybody has their things they're busy with. The schools also have their own programs, so it's quite understandable. So this year we've had more interest from the secondary schools for the solo competition. So we had to make a decision, and the decision was taken to merge the two shows, because now there's no need to have 2 days, because it's going to be smaller in terms of the solo competition. The choir competition is always, you know, full ram-pack, so that continues. But the solo competition this year, we're only going to have the secondary schools competing against each other. And hopefully next year we can have all of the schools participating once again for the solo competition.
You mentioned that the teachers are donating their time.
Because
but they're doing it with a certain amount of pride, I'm sure, because they also want to register themselves as winners.
You mean the school? Of course. Of course. But last year we had quite a number of participants in both the solo as well as the choirs. And because it was so long anticipated, because we had a interruption, you know. So we had quite a number of participants. But this year, from the onset, some schools were like, you know, like, we can't participate this year. You know, probably different priorities, I don't know. But nevertheless, I know the choirs, we will always have a choir competition, because that has grown to be the biggest event out of the two, which is great. But we also have still so much talent, you know, so many youngsters that can sing, that want to participate. So sometimes it just hurts my heart, because they can't do it on their own. They need the assistance of their teachers and of their school in order to participate. I can remember a couple of years ago, this youngster wanted to participate, and I remember the school quite well. It was a St. Joseph school, and for some reason the school didn't have anyone that could assist him, so they didn't want to participate. And his mom was adamant because he really wanted to do it, and he's a great singer, that he participate. So he ended up participating under his afternoon school program, which is also possible.
Okay.
So, and he got first runner-up. So, so that just shows you that when you know your children, you know their talent, and you know what they can do, sometimes taking no for an answer is not an option. At least that's how I operate as well. So I was very happy that his mom did that, gave him the opportunity to showcase his talent, and he was one of the winners. However, the school was not as willing because they didn't have anyone to help him, but he did it nonetheless. So that's something that we can consider as well moving forward for next year, that if a child wants to and the parents want them and they can find, if they're not, because they have to be affiliated with a school, then they can participate. Because,
how long have you been doing this?
This is actually going to be the 11th edition of the St.Maarten Interscholastic Idol Competition. Some in between we had gaps simply because of, COVID, hurricanes, etc. But this is going to be the 11th edition of this competition.
And maybe you want to talk briefly about some of the people who came through you and has become real big characters.
Kenyo, a big name internationally. So Kenyo is one of the Interscholastic Idol winners. We also have Shanti, who's no stranger to this radio station, Elton Richardson's daughter, who is doing big things in Asia right now, producing for some big artists in Asia, writing songs known internationally. Then we also have Kay Hill, who's also not only a recording artist, but she's also a songwriter as well. We also have Adrian Nicasio, who has been making quite a big name as of late for himself, also performing at the regatta, having been one of the main featured artists as well for Soulful Night in the Festival Village. We have Chardonnay, who's also making it big in the Netherlands in the music industry. So we've had quite a number of youngsters that have gone through the Interscholastic Idols competition that are making it big on the international stage. And I'm just so proud that, to say I've been able to be a part of that journey. As small as this may seem, it contributes to the bigger picture in the end.
It drives you in any way to continue despite some of the...
Because don't forget, I come, and I always say this, I come from a very talented family. A lot of my cousins sing professionally. I sing. I never, never continued in the professional part of it.
What?
I said I also sing.
Yeah, broken glasses, you mean?
What are you talking about? So it's a part of my DNA. Music and it's just a part of who I am. So it goes without saying that this is something that I will continue as long as the Lord gives me strength to continue. I will always do it. And again, because it gives our youth a platform to showcase their talent, I will always continue to do it. It's hard financially because you send out letters to donors. There are those who are always cooperative, and then there are those who are not as cooperative. But this is a plea, because of course we need a venue. It doesn't come at 1 cent. And regardless if we did a fundraising event, a walkathon to help raise funds, but that's not even 1/4 or 1/5 as to what we have to pay for the venue. So that's why we always call on the public, the business
corporate companies,
to contribute in whichever way they can, because this is about our youth and this is also about securing their future. As you know, I always talk about my children and how I've seen them become so much more confident in who they are as people because of them having talents and being able to explore and being able to showcase their talent, where it has also helped them to do better in school as well. So for me, in order for your children to have a balance, you have to allow them. Back in the day it was a thing, and I think parents still do it today, where the child has something that they're doing as an extracurricular activity. If school starts to not go the way they want, they pull them. But to me, that's only a disadvantage to the child as well. So once it comes to me promoting the youth in any way possible, I'm always going to be there to do that.
How would you describe what you've just said, that by them participating, it helps them do better in school?
Because the fact that our youth has a talent, so for example, let me use my daughter. My daughter sings, she dances, she's a gymnast. Everything that she thinks she can do, I allow her to do, and she excels in it. It builds her self-confidence because she knows what she can do and she just wants to work at getting better. But that also helps them when it comes to, at least in my experience, with their academics as well.
Yeah.
Because it helps them to realize that if I can do this, I can also do that. And it just boosts their self-confidence and helps them. And, you know, we have teachers, you're an educator, I'm an educator, but we have some educators who tend to sometimes want to, I say, bring our children down or want them to think lesser than. And once they have that strong foundation and they know who they are, there's no teacher that can break them. And it just helps them to push even harder if they're struggling in any subject, you know, in order to be better at it. So I feel being able to strike that balance is always a good thing for our youth. And it's a word of advice to parents to not take them out of what they love, just encourage them, you know, and find ways to help them in school if they're starting to fall back.
I guess the whole thing also for the individual is somewhat of a challenge, knowing that you have to work on improving yourself. So if you are involved in extracurricular activity, that's the kind of challenge that you bring into the classroom that helps you to achieve you know, success academically. Yeah. You're so right. And it's good for people to understand this, that you don't just leave your children after school doing nothing when you can get them enrolled in something extra that will help them and challenge them. Where is this going to be held this year?
So the intention is Ali's. You know, I always say the intention because I follow their rules. You're not really supposed to advertise the venue unless you have
confirmation.
Yeah, unless you've paid all of your dues, and we haven't done that yet. So the date is set, the venue is Ali's, but we have to, of course, pay the final in order for it to be official.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what it's going to be.
That throw a little doubt in there, MP, because now if you're unable to pull this off now,
well, you just use a word that I never use. Unable does not exist.
Okay.
Unable does not exist.
Excuse me.
You know, I'm always positive, and I know that there are going to be businesses that are going to come through for us in order for us to pull this off. You know, and that's why it's always good for us to have these avenues to come out and talk about the challenges we're facing when we're putting on events like this, so that persons could call you or say, hey, you know, I can contribute in whichever way or form.
Yeah.
So I have hope that based on this radio interview, you know, persons are going to call and say, hey, how can I contribute to make this happen?
Okay, that's for those who have not yet, but I'm sure you may have sent out letters. Would you want to make a broad appeal?
Well, yeah, I've had confirmation from one sponsor, which is the Port of St.Maarten. You know, like I said, I did reach out to others. I'm still waiting, and I prefer not, you know, call their names because I'm just waiting to get a response. But the one that I can say thank you to already is, of course, the Port of St.Maarten. They have always contributed in everything that I do pertaining to the youth. The Port has always been there. Also the Windward Island Bank, by the way. You know, they do not call themselves our partners in progress for no reason. They are definitely our partners in progress. As you know, there's also an initiative that I do every graduation term. So I have a project called Angelique Romou Scholar Artist Athlete Awards. And with that, scholarships are given to students who are excelling, like I talked about, both in the sports or arts and academically. And over the years, the Windward Island Bank and the Port, if there are two that have been consistent, and of course Motor World, are those three businesses that always give these scholarships or help us to provide these scholarships to the youngsters, both in primary as well as in secondary school. So you have those businesses who always contribute, and I just feel like there's so many more. Like we have thousands and thousands of businesses, but yet it's always the same ones. We realize that there's a civic responsibility
to the community.
To the community.
And
correct.
to our youth.
And to our youth.
Yeah.
Correct.
Wow. You get the feeling that those people who come across every year when you have these type of things, that they see beyond what you're doing and see that they're actually contributing to the youth of our community.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that's why they do it every year, because they see the youngsters that, those that win or those that get these scholarships, what they go on to do, and they're not just handpicked. There's a process that the schools have to go through in choosing the scholarship recipients. For example, they have to excel in a sport or in an art, but then they also have to have a 7.5 and an 8 average academically to qualify to get the scholarship.
Uh-huh.
So that's why I say about striking that balance, that's extremely important. So, and I know that the businesses that contribute know that, this is a good cause, a worthy cause.
Mm-hmm. So, you have an idea what it would cost for those who would want to support?
Well, I can tell you,
I
don't have a problem with saying right now, the cost for the venue is $4,000. So we are practically like $3,000 behind. But like I said, I know with all the businesses we have on the island, those listening, even if they give 200 and it adds up, we can reach our goal in terms of what it costs to host the event. But and then of course the tickets are gonna be on sale as of tomorrow. I'm getting all of the tickets today, and so with that too, that would also help us to be able to pay for the venue. But of course, we have the trophies and we have the prizes.
Yeah.
We have all of those
There's
things
so much more involved.
We have to, But like I said, I never give up, and I'm a fighter. Like I just, when I believe in something, I believe in it, and I go 100%. So I have confidence that this all of these things I'm talking about will eventually be come to fruition.
Do you have any other plan in mind that you might want to adopt to be able to pull this off annually without, like, maybe a structural budget somewhere?
Yes, and that is something that we've been looking into. There are so many funds that you can apply to, and I started actually quite early last year looking into it, but I kind of hit a snag because the ones that would say that it's culture or whatever, and then when I would reach out to these person, be like, no, we only cater towards XYZ. So so that has been kind of a challenge, but I know there are many funds out there that you can apply to that can help. So for next year, for sure, next event, hopefully that would be the avenue that we take, and we won't have to be asking as many businesses for their support.
As a politician yourself, that have political ambitions, making a request to the Ministry of Education for a structural support for such a venue, such a undertaking, you see that as conflicting, or?
Well, not really. However, I do know the struggles that the ministries have been undergoing in terms of finances. So that's why this year, for sure, we didn't even consider, asking, because we know what the answer would be already. But hopefully the financial situation with government gets better, and then they can continue with these type of initiatives, which only help our youth to develop their talents and skills.
I would say. All right. MP Angelique Romou is here with me. She's from St.Maarten, promoting Young Ambassadors Foundation. And of course, she's also involved with the St.Maarten Interscholastic Idols competition that is known for great choirs, young people, as well as individuals. And they'll be putting on a show on May 17th at Ali's upcoming. Okay, let me take a break quickly, and we'll take some more information from the good MP so that you can contact her if needs be. If you see that you need to contribute to something, a project like this, and we'll give you more information. We'll be right back, folks. Okay, welcome back, folks, to the remaining minutes in this hour with my guest, MP Angelique Romou. She's from St.Maarten, promoting Young Ambassadors Foundation. And your foundation is primarily geared towards promoting young people. Mm-hmm. And
started in 2004.
This
foundation. And initially, when I started, I was doing more etiquette classes, going to schools and providing those services in terms of how young people should carry themselves, decorum, public speaking, and so on. And then eventually, I went into I went into pageantry. I was asked to assist with the Miss Hibiscus. And then eventually I held my own Miss St.Maarten Hibiscus show in 2005. And then I just, whenever an idea came to mind where I could promote young people, I just kept adding stuff. So 2005 was the Miss St.Maarten Hibiscus. Then in 2010, I started with the Interscholastic Idols competition. In 2011, I started with the Kids Place radio program with the Young Ambassadors. And I think in 2012, we started with a choir competition. And it's just been growing ever since.
You look like you would be a good candidate for youth affairs.
For sure. I'm not giving up on that. That's an aspiration that I'm not giving up on, because I don't believe in giving up. Like they say, if you quit, you will never win. So you have to continue, especially when you know you can do something.
I admire that of you, but I can't help. But there got to be challenges. I mean, not quitting is one of the thing that you should always adapt, because you find another way of getting it done.
Right.
Mm-hmm. But what are some of the challenges, though, that you face, if any, then, because you're not
organizing such an event?
Organizing this event on an annual basis.
One of the biggest challenges is always coordination in terms of timing. I always reach out to the schools to see which time is best. Some of the challenges we have is, of course, if it's around examination time, if it's coming close to a vacation period. I wouldn't say a challenge is so much getting the teachers to assist, because there's some teachers who look forward to it. As a matter of fact, I had 2 teachers this year who were very disappointed that the school didn't want to participate. So they let me know, like, I have students, I already identified students that can participate, but the school is not cooperating, and the school doesn't really said we have other priorities this year. So that happens as well. But I think that's still a minor challenge. The biggest challenge is coordinating time, the right time to host this event. It was supposed to be initially in March of this year, but then that date was no longer, it wasn't available at Ali's, and then also that weekend was the Heineken Regatta. So, and you never want to compete with other events that are, have a following in, have persons who want to attend that as well. So we had to move it, and then the only other day that was available was this weekend, the weekend of the 16th and 17th of May.
Right after Carnival.
Right after Carnival, but besides that, it also falls right in the examination period for those who are, in exam classes. So, for example, last year, if persons attended, they would have seen a stage full of close to maybe 16 young ambassadors who assisted me with pulling off this event. But this year is going to be a lot smaller, because some of them are in exam class and they can't be a part of it because they're preparing for exams. So these are some of the challenges that we have, but these are things that, it comes with the territory, and all you do is you work around it, and you still make sure that whatever product you're giving is the best that you can give.
You said some of the choirs are also big.
Yeah. I mean, those persons who have come in the past know that the Seventh-day Adventist School, they always come prepared. The Hillside Christian School, they come prepared. Unfortunately, they backed out, so they are not participating this year, the Hillside Christian School. But we have the Seventh-day Adventist School, we have the Mary Genevieve the Weaver School, We have the Lionel Connor School once again. We also have the Learning Unlimited School. We also have CIA. I think we have 5 to 6 choirs in the primary section this year. And in addition to the choir segment this year in the secondary, we have the MAC High. So this year we have the MAC High. Hopefully MPC still participate because they're the reigning champs. They won the choir competition 3 years back to back. But I'm not sure if they're participating. The director did tell me that, he have those who are showing interest, but it's iffy, so I'm not sure. But for sure we have the MAC High, we have CBA, who is for the first time having a choir perform. And I don't think that Academy is doing it this year either. Academy was in it last year for the choirs. It was actually Academy versus MPC. But this year it's CBA and MAC that we have confirmed in the choir segment for the secondary schools. So in total we have about nine choirs competing.
Don't they see this? Don't they have that type of program in their curricula at school as well?
They should. Some schools do.
Because that's part of making your students well-rounded, because at least that aspect of their development comes to the fore.
Yes, for sure.
All right. Describe for me what it's like, though, when you're having this competition and you have maybe a crowd that is supporting, whether it's the Seventh-day Adventists or the MAC High or what have you.
Well, it's always really hype, and it's a lot of fun. I'm not sitting in the audience, so I'm not a spectator. I'm most of the time on stage or, just busy with the coordination of it all. But just the hype, just seeing the parents, the family members, the schools come out to support. You have those that come with their banners. You have those that come with their horns. It's always just such a great feeling to be a part of something so big, because they get it. They understand how when you help youngsters to develop their talent and their skill, how it helps them with everything moving forward. So it's always a great atmosphere to be in. I've never had, even though we do it, I think it's just a precautionary measure that you mention at the beginning of a show, please, all of these youngsters are here because they have a talent. Some may be more talented than others, but the idea is for them to have a good time, to showcase their talent, for the audience to be cooperative and to be cheerful and to just cheer them on without any negativity. Something that I always say is that, and I've noticed it for just about every competition except last year's, that the adults are the ones that really cause the problems, because if they feel someone should have won or their child should have won, they're the ones that start to make the confusion, because again, the youngsters are the ones that are there, that they're happy to be a part of something positive. They go out and people cheer them on, so they feel good about themselves. Of course, if we can only have one winner, but just the fact that they have taken that step, that courage to get up on stage in front of thousands of people, that's within itself that you're already a winner. And these are the things that I say to the students when I speak to them. And then I encourage the directors, the parents, those who are helping, to do the same, because you don't want to break them by that type of behavior, like, oh no, they should have won and it was a cheat. No, we don't tolerate that type of behavior, and we ask persons to refrain from that, because we're just keeping it positive and we're just keeping it as a great experience for our youth.
I can't help but think of what I would see on air sometimes, like America Got Talent or Britain Got Talent, that kind of stuff. To see people who might start out singing in the shower, but maybe heard by their parents, and how
just the other day I was watching. It's not America Got Talent. I think it's not American Idol. It's one of them. I think it's The Voice. I think it was The Voice, where this young, and that's why I said, and that's why I tell you, you will never accomplish success if you give up, because you just never know when it's your time. And I firmly believe in that. When you believe in yourself and you know what you're capable of doing, You have to keep going because it's not everybody is for you.
Yeah.
But when you find the persons for you, then it's onward sailing from there. Yeah. So this young lady, I think it was The Voice, or it could be American Idol, because Simon was one of the judges, but he's on every show now.
Yeah.
And she sang when she was, I think it was 19, and she didn't go through, but she came back as an adult, and she just blew everybody away.
Yeah.
So and I always use Celine Dion as an example as well. Celine Dion tried so many times before, and when she was about to give up, she got her breakthrough. One of the best vocalists I have ever heard to date is Celine Dion.
Yeah.
So it just says that and then when you have people that believe in you as well, pushing you, you know, the sky is the limit. And I feel that's what we have to do with our students. They might not win this competition, but who's to say they won't win the next one? Or maybe it mightn't happen in 5 years, but it might happen in 6. I just feel if you know you have skills and you have a talent, you never give up on yourself. You always keep moving forward, because when it's your time, it's your time. I believe in divine timing. I'm a firm believer in that. So, and I think that's how we have to encourage our youth moving forward.
You ever see anybody who may have, I mean, if you're singing in a choir, it might be a little different when it comes to how you handle butterflies.
Right.
But everybody gets butterflies when you go on stage and you're singing in front of a lot of people or performing. But do you ever see anyone who have overcome that in the process of delivering their song? And
you mean like they started off being shaky?
Yeah.
Well, of course, you see that all the time. But again, having the audience that's supportive helps that.
Yes.
You know,
yes.
I mean, we've had like maybe a child start or the song starts wrong, so it kind of throws them off. Then everybody starts to clap to kind of motivate the child.
Yeah.
And that's the type of audience I like, who understands the assignment. The assignment is that you're here to cheer on, of course, the person you want to win, but to help everyone feel comfortable when they get on stage.
So you are selling tickets for everyone to...
So as of tomorrow, the tickets will be on sale. Tickets are going to be on sale at Van Dorp, both locations. And of course, from the participating schools, the participants, the tickets are going to be $10 in advance for children, $20 in advance for adults. It's going to be $15 at the door and $25 at the door for adults. That's simple.
15?
Yeah. 10 and 15, 20 and 25.
10, 25.
Yeah.
Okay. And why should you come and attend? Maybe it sparks your
St. Maarten
interest.
has talent. This show is a show that, you know, is always talked about, and you do not want to miss it. Carnival is behind us now. So now everyone can focus on, you know, promoting our youth now and supporting our youth in a different atmosphere. And believe you me, it's going to be a good show, because like I said, the secondary schools that are going to do the solo competition, which will start before the choirs competition, listen, these youngsters can sing. So I am excited for that part as well, because I was skeptical I was going to totally not have the solo competition, but I had some schools telling me, well, especially the secondary, listen, our kids have been practicing, they are waiting for this. You know, so you need to go ahead with at least that one. So I decided, we decided let's go ahead with the solo competition for the secondary schools, but just tie it in with the choirs competition, and that's what's going to happen.
So
it starts at 2 p.m. on Sunday the 17th, so it starts early because there's school the next day, and we're just hoping that people come out, you know, get your tickets from tomorrow, they're going to be available, and come out and support our youth.
And because you're merging both together, because for those people who regularly frequent what you're doing, you had two different days of shows.
because it's three competitions on the Saturday. It would be Cycle 1, Cycle 2, and the secondary schools. But now we only have the secondary schools.
Okay.
So that's why we merged it. We can get away with that, but we could never do all three with the choirs. That will never work. We will be there till 11 o'clock at night.
Well, how about you have other volunteers working with you?
Well, yeah, the young ambassadors and their parents, and of course my family is a part of this. So that's how we pull it off.
Yeah. Because that looks like it's a lot of work, especially
when
you have it in 2
days. You know, on the days of the event is when you see how much work it is. Yeah, because I mean we have to organize the venue. All of those things you have to do it on your own. So, yeah.
So there will be a heavy concentration on preparations this and part of next week.
Yes. So I'll be doing various radio interviews, getting the hype around it. Like I said, that's why I chose today too, because Carnival just finished. So now that's behind us. Now we can focus on something else. Another positive activity that helps to promote our youth and, helps them to showcase their talent.
Yeah. I'm going to give you an opportunity to again reach out to those persons who you would call on, whether it's corporate companies or whoever, to support this cause, because they're doing it primarily for the youths of the country.
So, of course, I want to take this opportunity to thank the port already for being the first to jump on board and say, yes, we're going to do it again. All of those other corporate companies listening, please, if you can, reach out to give your support. And every other company that's listening and believes in giving our youth a chance to showcase their talent, you can. Even individuals who might want to just donate, all donations are welcome. We do have, it's kind of difficult to give the account number here, but we do have an account at the Windward Islands Bank, St.Maarten Promoting Young Ambassadors Foundation account. So donations can be made directly to
maybe they can reach you. You want to share your number?
Yeah, so they can reach me on my phone number.
More details.
Yes, it's 528-6006. It's a very easy number. 528-6006. That's my cell number. So if you're interested in contributing financially towards making this show a success, you can.
And what about the parents and support for the...
Of course, the parents know they have to come out and support their children, I can say that this is one show that I don't really see parents just dropping off their kids. And even for the choirs, parents come out and they support the choirs. And for the individuals, they always do, because it's just one child singing against another child. But for the choirs, the parents come out and they support. So once again, this year in the choirs competition, we have in the primary school segment, we have the Seventh-day Adventists who's defending. They're the defending champs. I'm not sure if they've won it 3 years in a row, but they've definitely won it 2 years in a row. So we have the Seventh-day Adventist school. We have the Lionel Connor School. They were the second runner-up last year. We also have the Learning Unlimited Preparatory School. We have CIA, and we have the Mary Genevieve the Weaver School. And then for the secondary, currently we have, that's definite, Charlotte Brookson Academy, and the Mac High. And MPC is still a question mark if they're going to come, which they should. Like you said, they're defending champs. They're the defending champs for 3 years in a row. So they should come out.
Who want to give up their championship without defending it?
And then in the solo competitions, we have Academy, PSVE, Academy, Academic. We have Charlotte Brookson. We also have MPC, have different levels that are participating as well in the secondary.
For those who might not have ever attended one of your shows, what genre of
well, we always ask
those
that are helping the youth to help them to choose ballads, because that helps you to definitely see the range that these students can go to, can sing in. What we get a lot of in the choir competitions is gospel, but they can sing any genre once it's in a ballad form, so slow, and also age appropriate. We stress on that. We've never had anyone come and sing something that wasn't appropriate, because we have to screen them, of course, in the beginning. So those are that is the genre that they're asked to participate in.
Even for ballads. Solos, or solos a different
solos
story?
More than ever is ballads.
So it's usually a cool, mellow,
for sure,
delivery on all levels. All right, well, success, continued success. You've been doing it all these years, so this is no strange territory for you.
No,
I just wanted to ask you something a little bit earlier, but it went away from me. For the time when you were in government, how did you couple putting on that with your work.
But remember, when I was in Parliament, remember I went into Parliament right around COVID, so we did not have a show between 2020 until last year. So that was basically, we had a break, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, like 5 years.
But you're not going to give this up, so
of course not.
You have any plans for how you're going to do this the next time around?
No, I mean, of course now the idea is to find persons who are genuinely as
interested in
passionate about it as I am, because that's always a challenge, huh? When I first started off with this, I started off with I thought 4 persons who seemed to be just as passionate, and it ended up really just being myself, and then of course volunteers who help. But that's always a challenge in any organization you have. You have people who say they want to help, but eventually they just fall off, and it's those who are really passionate and care about what they're doing are always going to stay.
But but don't your foundation, St.Maarten Promoting Young Ambassadors Foundation, have a board of some kind that help to work?
Yes, for sure, and that's what I'm saying. So that is the basic daily runnings. But when it comes to the organization and running and pushing everything,
a lot is left up to solo you.
Yes, it's not left up to. I kind of, like I said, because of my experiences in the past. Like someone asked me that just yesterday, and I said, because of my experiences in the past, when it comes to the gist and the bulk of the work, I like to do it because I know it's going to get done.
Yeah.
And whatever then I need help with, then the others can come in and filter in.
Or you can delegate for them to take responsibility for certain things. All right. Well, success again, folks.
I hope you're coming, Wendell.
Huh?
I don't recall ever seeing you at a show. You
don't have the time. You don't have the time to see who is in the audience.
You
just mentioned that you don't see from that perspective.
But I kind of know. I kind of know who comes and who doesn't come.
I will support you. I promise.
This time, okay.
Angelique Romou, MP Angelique Romou, is my guest for today. She is, of course, reminding folks that on the 17th of May, that's when the Interscholastic Idols competition will be held. And I'd like folks to know it's primarily singing. When are you going to do acting? Quickly. Or something else?
How many things I stick to what you see it, and you have to remember this because I said it earlier. I know singing. I know acting too, but I haven't acted in a long time, so I leave that to somebody else.
Yeah, all right.
Can't do everything.
I'm just asking. The journalism in me.
Maybe Rita, if you're listening.
Yeah.
Rita, if you're listening, you hear Wendell is making a plea. Rita's my good old classmate, buddy. I mean, we did so many fun things together when we were in MPC. We had a dancing group. We sang, and we've acted together in numerous plays, like 3 plays from Ian Valls. But Rita is the one that kept with the acting. You see, I stick with the singing, and Rita, is with the acting. So maybe Rita, if you're watching or if you're listening, Wendell has something that he would like you to start with,
All right, so tickets will be available at Van Dorp, both locations, as of tomorrow, I believe. And get your tickets and also go out and support this all-important youth project, which I think is giving the children an opportunity to expand their wings and to perform on a competitive level. Thank you so much for coming in and sharing that.
Thank you.
Hopefully you will get the attention that you're looking for as a result, and hopefully we can contribute to building the hype towards what's coming
for sure.
The 17th of May.
Thank you so much for always, helping us to promote our events that are all... I don't think I've ever been here to promote anything else but youth.
Yeah.
So thank you once again.
No problem. All right, that's going to be...
Thank you to those viewing and those listening as well for tuning in.
That's right, and that will be the final word to our audience, and thank you so much for tuning in. Yes. I'll be back again this afternoon at 5, today being Wednesday. So let me say goodbye, and thank you so much for joining us. Over to the newsroom we go. You take care.